Welcome to Section 420, Talkin Yankees, the podcast. Well, hope you had a great Thanksgiving break. Hope you got your fill of mashed potatoes, corn, some turkey, stuffing, and I hope the crazy Uncle at the table wasn't that crazy this year. But before we get into it, make sure you subscribe to this podcast. So wherever you're listening to this, where you put down the turkey drum, and maybe it's a little left over from last week, will be kind of gnarly, but nevertheless, make sure you subscribe to this podcast and get notified when new content goes up. So I just want to touch base. Houston kind of. Get striking first there in terms of the big names in the free agency market there. Signing José Abreu, the former White Sox slugger, signs a 3-year deal with the Astros for $58 million, so making $19 million per year. And of course, the Astros with a tough lineup to begin with. Now add the former MVP and won the MVP back in 2020 to that lineup just to make it even more deadly. And of course, Jose now will be playing first base for the Astros. And if you may recall, before the Yankees signed Rizzo, there was some talk that potentially the Astros were kicking the tires on Rizzo as well. Looks like ultimately Rizzo stayed with the Yankees, and Abreu then went to the Astros. So I guess he was kind of maybe plan A or plan B, who knows? But nevertheless, he's with the Astros. So I think there's good and bad news in terms of the Yankees. Supposedly, the Red Sox were also looking at Jose Abreu. So in terms of, you don't want Abreu going to a main rival like the Astros, but you're also keeping him away from the Red Sox, who you have to face 19 times a year plus all those games in Fenway. And of course, Abreu, great, dangerous right-handed hitter. I'm in Fenway Park, the Green Monster. I mean, he probably put up some really good numbers there. So it does help the Yankees, at least, okay, he goes to Houston, but you keep him away from the Red Sox and keep him away from Fenway Park. So in a way, it does benefit the Yankees somewhat there. His power numbers are down a little bit this season. So he had 15 home runs, batted .304, didn't get off to a great start to the season, but finished strong, hitting .304 with 15 home runs. Now, only in terms of, you would be maybe a little weary of him, if you're the Astros. He is 36 years old. I mean, he had some prime years here, but unfortunately, he defected from Cuba back in 2014. So he missed a lot of years just playing down there. So, he could have probably, obviously came up here much sooner and made more money and played long in the majors here in America. But being as a Cuban defected is kind of almost like El Duque a little bit, even though he's great. But unfortunately, he only has so many years left. And again, now at 36 years old, he's again still a dangerous hitter, no doubt about it. But, in terms of the Yankees, I would not have any interest in him. I don't know if the Yankees were even considering him. Just because, again, the Yankees have enough problem with, Donaldson being 35 and 36, and just I wouldn't want another guy, on the wrong side of 35. So Houston wants to take him, fine. And so he'll be there with the Astros. And that's just a follow-up their other deal, retaining relief pitcher Rafael Montero. He also got a 3-year deal, not as much, $34 million, but Houston maintaining, that strong bullpen, which, again, pretty much shut the Yankees down. So it'll be more in the same in 2023. Now they got to decide what they want to do with Verlander. He opted for free agency, so we'll see where he lands. I say very most likely he comes back with the Astros. Again, he probably wants similar to what Rizzo did, because Verlander had the same deal. It was a 2-year deal, but he opted out after the first year. So maybe now he wants a 2-year guaranteed deal with maybe an option for a third. Same thing with the Yankees did with Rizzo. Rizzo was under a 2-year contract. He opted out after the first year, and then the Yankees kind of redid it, where now he has a 2-year deal with a third year as an option there. So similar thing. I think that's what Verlander is looking at as well. Now, if you want to compare the two there, Rizzo, the option, comes at a couple of dollars cheaper. So, Abreu's his salary is now $19 million per year to right now Rizzo, $2 million cheaper at $17 million per year. Rizzo's also younger. He's 32 years old compared to Abreu, 4 years older at 36. And defensively, you'd probably give the edge a little bit to Rizzo. Again, Abreu's, not a butcher boy there, but obviously you'd give Rizzo the nod there. So of the two players, Abreu's maybe a little fierce and maybe scary a little bit at the plate. I don't know, just because even though you didn't have a great home run season in 2022, but maybe Abreu seems a little scary. But I think just in terms of value, I think the Yankees got the better option there with Rizzo over Abreu at this point. So, but nevertheless, that's that. So it keeps him away from the Red Sox. That's good news for the Yankees. Also, not all the Yankee land, kind of significant there. Don Mattingly, the former Yankee first baseman, of course, and former manager of the both Los Angeles Dodgers as well as the Florida Marlins. Again, he won the Manager of the Year with the Marlins nationally Manager of the Year with the Marlins a couple of years ago. Will now join the, I'll say the hated Toronto Blue Jays, but now the rival Toronto Blue Jays as a bench coach, which is a little surprising there. I mean, I understand so Mattingly, last year was with the Marlins, and they kind of handshake agreement that that'll be his last year there. Fine. You would think maybe he could get a manager job somewhere else. I mean, bench coach is a little surprising to me. Just because for his stature. I mean, at some point, you see this a lot, but I was just kind of surprised. I think maybe, if anything, maybe to sit out a year or two and to see if a manager job falls into your lap somehow, maybe with like, maybe something like Baltimore or something like that, or just, to some other team out of the blue, just, for him to, so for him to take a bench coach job, it's a little, whatever. I mean, again, he used to be the Yankee bench coach, back in 2005 under Joe Torre, and also when Torre originally went out to the Los Angeles Dodgers to manage there, he brought Mattingly along as well to coach with him. So it's nothing really new for Mattingly, but I'm just kind of surprised he did that. But whatever, maybe he just needs the money or just bored, whatever, just wants to sit around the house anyway. So nevertheless, Mattingly now on the rival Blue Jay team, which, Yankees and Blue Jays are kind of neck and neck. Towards the end of the season there. Again, the Yankees kind of that big lead they had kind of was shrinking down, and both Toronto and Tampa, but really Toronto was kind of almost gaining on the Yankees then, but eventually they kind of fizzled out and the Yankees were able to secure the AL East. And it's going to be interesting because it is a little bit, teams got a little chirpy. Of course, the whole situation with Alex Manoah and Garrett Cole. We remember last season when Manoah hit Judge, and Cole was like the first guy to come out of the bullpen there and kind of made for the pitcher's mound. Not that he was going to charge the field, but then Manoah afterwards kind of challenged Cole, say, hey, next time come across the white line and face me. So kind of threw the challenge out there. And then on a recent podcast, Alex Manoah was asked actually who's the dirtiest player in baseball, and pretty much, almost without hesitation, said Garrett Cole. This in terms of the substance he supposedly used on some of the balls, back in the day. Obviously, this season now they were checking up on that, the new umpiring rule. But again, I guess there is something to that. And we've heard that, those whispers about Cole, even Donaldson, when he used to be with Minnesota, said that Cole used to rub up the balls with the stuff. And, could be something to him. And we've seen Cole, take a little step back. Still the same guy, but, not as dominating as when he first came here or his time with Houston. So maybe he was rubbing up something with those balls. It just seems signs to point that way. But now Manoah kind of throwing out the challenges. So will be interesting again when the Blue Jays and the Yankees clash in 2023. And, of course, now you're going to have Mattingly on the other side of that. So if there's a bench-clearing brawl, I don't know, I guess Boone's going to have to, maybe throw a punch at Mattingly there. Of course, that probably won't happen, but nevertheless, that's how that's there. So nothing really new on the Judge front. We heard a figure, not too long ago put out there as $337 million. Supposedly that's, now we don't know the details. We don't know how many years and what, if there's any opt-outs or anything like that, but we're hearing that's the number and kind of seems to make sense. I mean, you figure it's going to be, whatever Judge get, it's going to be over $300 million, I would say it'll be less than $400 million. So, the low threes, 337, that sounds about right. We'll see where that ultimately lands. And of course, Judge did make the rounds again, went out to the West Coast there, something that was found on, someone videotaped it, and I don't know if Judge wanted it out there or not, but put on social media. He was checking into a hotel there in San Francisco, preparing for a meeting with the Giants. I kind of mentioned on the, the video YouTube, if you've seen that episode previously, that it just doesn't really, make sense. And I probably mentioned here on the audio podcast as well. The Giants just don't make sense for Judge. I mean, they have a lot of money, to spend. That's true, but they still need Judge, and they would have to get like 4 or 5 other big pieces for them to even consider, the National League West out there. I mean, they finished the season 500, 30 games below the Dodgers, and the Dodgers are still going to be a beast next season. Now, they still have to re-sign Trey Turner. They did re-sign Clayton Kershaw. So, they're going to be awesome again. For the Giants to catch them, they would have to sign like a lot of guys. Now, they have, and you can't just sign the guys. You also need need some guys coming up through the farm system. It takes a couple years to put a good team together. And so let's say if they sign Judge for a long-term deal, they're still probably about 2 or 3 years away from really being a serious contender. And then by the time, Judge will be 33, 34 years old. And it just doesn't make sense, for Judge in that regard. It doesn't make sense for them to bring Judge aboard yet. I don't think they're ready yet. So I don't see him going to the Giants. Dodgers are a possibility just because they have oodles of money to spend and they don't care and they just want to win every year. They're kind of, what the Yankees kind of used to be back in the day there. So if anything, I'd see him more going to the Dodgers than he would the Giants. And also, if you're the Giants, you got to also look up, you got the San Diego Padres now on the rise. And, of course, they got a young team there. They just made the playoffs. Okay, they did beat the Mets, but lost to the Phillies. But still, they're on the rise as well. And they have also Juan Soto going into next year. So now Machado and Soto and a good young team, kind of feisty team there. So, again, the Giants have to deal with them as well. So I just don't think the Giants are ready in position for Judge. But we'll see how that all goes. But you just see, whether it's Hal, whether it's Brian Cashman, whether it's Boone, the comments, and even recently Judge held some gala in New York, and Giancarlo Stanton there, and I think DJ was there, some Yankees were there. It just seemed like he's going to hang around. So I just very likely see him staying in pinstripes. And again, you're probably looking at a number like anywhere from 337 million. Kind of sounds about right. We'll figure out the years, but that's probably what he's going to be he's going to get at some point. And obviously, they should have that wrapped up, I would think, before Christmas. Just I mean, I don't know how many other teams he's going to realistically take offers from, or who are realistically going to give him an offer. So figure out a couple of weeks of back and forth, but I think they should have this little wrapped up a little before Christmas. So we'll see how that goes on track there. So that's the news. So again, the Astros kind of strike first there. Add Abreu to a team that's already better than the Yankees, you would say, at least on paper. So it just makes it that more tougher. So we'll see what Brian Cashman, in addition to just bringing back Judge, which you figure he's going to do. What else can he do in addition to that to make this team better? There are some rumors that even though they retain kind of not retain him, they settled a 1-year deal for $6 million to avoid arbitration. So he'll be in pinstripes next season. But we'll see if the Yankees do something at shortstop. If they move kind of Falefa, if they for someone else potentially. I don't think that'll happen. I just think he's gonna keep that spot warm until they feel Volpe is ready. But obviously the Yankees have to do something. I would say more of the need would be, if anything, probably third base with Donaldson. I mean, that's probably where they could use an upgrade. Just offensively, just looks like he's shot. I mean, he'll slug a home run here and there once a little bit, but in terms of being a consistent hitter, was not a good season for him. So, I mean, they could definitely, use some sort of upgrade there. Defensively is fine, but maybe, I don't know, some sort of upgrade there at third base. Now, ideally, it'd be nice if you could slot DJ LeMahieu there, but it's still up there what he has to do with that foot injury. They still haven't, decided whether they should go for surgery or some other type of non-surgical rehab to get him right. But at some point, they say either way he's gonna be ready for spring training. But the clock is ticking, so if he's gonna have surgery and he's gonna be obviously physical therapy and recovery and all that, I don't know if he'll be ready by March. But we'll see that. Other than that, I don't know what options the Yankees would have. Now, Donaldson only has his 1 year left on this deal. Now, it's a lot of money. It's $25 million. Now, Minnesota probably eating a little bit of that, but still it's a chunk. So if the Yankees do decide to move Donaldson, they're probably going to have to eat a lot of that money. I just don't think it's something they'd be willing to do. Again, just Hal being the kind of, we're paying all this money, might as well just have the guy versus paying money and him playing somewhere else. So they're probably going to keep Donaldson. But again, in terms of where they could upgrade this roster, that would be one move, would be third base there. If they could do shortstop, that'd be fine. I just don't see that happening. Second base is going to be, again, a bit of a wild card because you have a mix there. You have Gleyber as well as DJ. But again, if DJ is not going to be available, then you kind of have to keep Gleyber. But unless you could make a move somehow to bring up someone else or get a deal to bring someone in here for second base. Gleyber had a good bounce back season in 2022. Still a little disappointing, though. We still haven't seen that Gleyber. Remember when he first came up, back in 2018, 2019. I don't know if he'll ever gain that form again. He's still young. He's like 25 years old, so I don't say he's past yet. You can still recapture that, but his trade value is probably not as high as you would hope. So, I don't know what you could get back for him, but that's definitely possibly an area where you could upgrade potentially. Other than that, you're pretty set. You're probably looking at Beta in center field. You figure they're going to resign Judge. He's in right field. Left field, kind of interesting there. It could be just a mix max again. You still have Hicks under contract. You still have Stanton under contract. Stanton will probably, he'll probably play some left field, like he did last season. But mainly you use him for your DH. And then left field probably, and again, unless they can move him as well, would be great. You're probably looking at Hicks a lot in left field there, as well as a little mix, a little Oswaldo Cabrera, because he's kind of multi-talented there. He could play left, he could play third, he could play shortstop. So probably a little platoon situation with Cabrera and Hicks, and we'll see, let the best man win there for left field. So other than that, I'm not too sure else where the Yankees could upgrade. You already bought back Rizzo. You have Trevino behind the plate there. So that's kind of the team set. What I think they really should also, look at as well, probably want to look at the bullpen, because you look at the way it just fell apart for the Yankees last season, and they were kind of stuck with the trio there, Peralta, Loaizaga, and Clay Holmes. Now, to his credit, they kind of all held their own there. In the playoffs, they weren't really the problem, but you saw that the Yankees were thinned out there, even to the point where you were putting Clark Schmidt there in some big spots, which that should not be the case at all. So I think if Cashman could just, go around, kind of how he found Clay Holmes, just kind of go ping around, whether it's a team like the Phillies or the Reds, just try to find just bring as many arms as you can as possible in here, because we just saw what happened to the Yankees last season. They all just went down like flies. Now, Michael King should be available. He looks like he's on track to be back to start the season, so that's good news there. But I think this got to bring in a bunch of arms, because it's a long season. You just saw how they all went down, like one by one. King went down, Chad Green went down before that. Chapman was just a hot dumpster fire mess altogether, whether he was in the lineup or not. Zach Britton tried to come back during the end of the season. His body gave out there, so Yankees definitely were shorthanded there in the bullpen. So for Cashman, I think just bring in as many arms as possible. And with those guys, it's just trying to find lightning in a bottle. They will retain Lou Trevino. They also, avoided arbitration with him as well, so he'll be back in pinstripes. He's just kind of like a guy. I don't think he used him in the high leverage situation, so he's just someone if the starter kind of burns out or like it's the fifth inning and bases loaded and you need a sinker ball to kind of get a double play or something, you bring him in. So he's not what you call a high leverage guy, but whatever, they're bringing him back. Kind of indifferent on the whole thing, whatever. He was somewhat of a disappointment. Again, he came in with a terrible record and high ERA anyway, so it wasn't much anyway you expecting with him. But he'll be back also for the Yankees next season. But for Cashman, bring in some more arms, bring in as many arms in that bullpen as possible, and again, hope we find a couple of gems in there like you did with Clay Holmes, because again, the Yankees want to compete like a team like Houston. You say Houston is 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th innings, bring one guy after another, just untouchable, high 90s, tough breaking balls. So that's where the Yankees got to be if they want to compete against a team like Houston. I don't know if you probably saw this thing too. There were reports out there that supposedly Yes was actually, speaking of Mattingly, looking to bring Mattingly and Jeter to the Yes broadcast some way and somehow. We didn't know exactly what it was, but you heard there were deep discussions. I never believed that for a minute. Number one, Mattingly's just not a chatty guy. He's just, I don't know, like you rarely see interviews with him that much. He just doesn't seem like the type of guy that would do that, something like that, whether it's, post game or whether it's some special captain show with Jeter and Mattingly. I mean, yeah, it would have been cool, but I never thought there was any substance to that. And Derek Jeter, it's interesting now he's not playing. Now he's not involved with the Marlins anymore. He's kind of really taken to Twitter as well as Instagram. Now you kind of see the personality, more of a personality than he ever did as a player. He was kind of just tight-lipped and kept that door closed and anything was going on in his life. Now very out there. You see him with his daughters and making, just funny videos and stuff, putting on Twitter. I think it's cool. Same thing happened to Eli Manning with the Giants. As soon as Eli was done playing football, took to Twitter and he's just, now he's become like a bit of a cult hero, just, little comedic things he does now on Twitter. Jeter a little similar now. So I just don't see Jeter wanting to do something like that. And he's got oodles of money. And I don't know. I just think he wants to stay home with the girls and raise the kids and not have to like travel to New York, give it something once a week and deal with that. So I never thought there was any substance with that. And of course, now forget about it now that the Mattingly has joined the Toronto Blue Jays. So just kind of just wanted to mention that real quick. So that's the episode. Finally done. So we'll catch you next time.